This is a video update to let everybody know what's going on. This is not a happy video, not a positive video, at least not for me, but it's just a real video of some of the challenges that happen in life. So it was one of my rules to only put positive stuff out there, but sometimes negative things happen, such as things like this. Recently, things have been going really well with the YouTube. Basically the channel exploding and, being able to get so many subscribers and then eventually make a lot of income. And I think the biggest success from the channel came from getting the children involved in the videos. They put a lot of positive energy, laughter, and just entertainment into the channel. But this channel was originally always designed from the beginning to be, more adult content with just training videos and philosophy videos and, in the past, like controversial videos and things like that. When the kids came into it, just basically filming them practicing the Kung Fu, it became very successful. I guess the people liked watching the kids, and it just brought more entertainment. With that came a lot of success, a lot of subscribers, and a lot of money coming in. But recently, just in the past 3 weeks, even 2 weeks, within 1 week, the income for this channel has dropped 70% and is continually dropping day after day. Like I'm losing about a couple $100 every single day that passes by. It still hasn't bottomed out yet. So when you're talking about 70% income, it's a huge drop. Think about making, hypothetically, if you're making $10,000 a month, and then now you're making $3,000. How much of a difference that is? Yes, $3,000 is still a good amount of money, but compared to $10,000, it's not good. And I wasn't planning. I didn't plan for this to happen. I didn't foresee this happening. And a lot of people, will say, always think positive. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking positive. I was thinking, hey, this income should probably be coming in regularly. If you're getting 10 grand, you might suspect that it might drop down to 9 grand, 8 grand, maybe even 7 grand, but you would not be prepared to all of a sudden have it drop 70%. It changes a lot of things, and especially if you're not prepared for it. It's kind of like everything's going well, you got a job, and then all of a sudden you're fired out of nowhere. Like how drastic of a experience that is. And going through this, it kind of almost feels like you're getting fired. And I don't know if it's completely related, but I think it might be. But the FTC just recently sued YouTube, and they won, and YouTube had to make a settlement for about $170 million, a little bit more. And now there's a whole new, basically they sued them for targeting ads towards children, and that's against the law. So YouTube has agreed to pay the money, and then YouTube has gone through some major changes where they are separating kids' channels and videos from the adult content. So they're considering anybody under the age of 13 to be considered a child, and basically ads cannot be targeted towards them. So any videos where it's targeted towards children, especially videos that are hosted by children and the children are like the main people in the videos, those videos can no longer be monetized. So if you think about all the money that's being lost from all these people that have created videos that are designed for children, it's a huge change, and it's affecting a lot of people that are making money from YouTube that has kids content. So there's a separate YouTube app called YouTube Kids, and there's supposed to be like a desktop version as well. Now when it comes to my videos, I don't consider my videos kids videos. My videos are adult videos of which kids learn to participate in these things that adults do. So no matter if I'm doing a push-up or if a kid's doing a push-up, the push-up is not for kids. The push-up is for adults, but some kids can do it. Same thing with the pull-ups. Like there's adults that do pull-ups, and then some kids could do it too. Adults spar in the martial arts. Well, kids can learn to spar in martial arts too. Even with Nerf guns, I use the Nerf guns. The Nerf rival guns they're expensive guns, and a lot of adults and teenagers will use these guns. The police department even used the Nerf rival guns to reenact active shooting situations. And in order to operate these Nerf rival guns, you need enough strength to operate them. You need to be an adult. Some of these guns are like $150. Kids cannot afford these types of Nerf guns. These guns go at a high velocity towards you, and if he shoots you in the face or the eye, it's gonna hurt. These Nerf guns are not for kids. So even the Nerf guns are for adults, but kids can get involved as well. So basically everything that I'm doing in this channel, it's for adults. It just so happens that some kids can participate in some of these activities too. So in my eyes, my channel is not for kids. And I hope that YouTube will understand that, and that the algorithm will properly allow my content and my videos to be monetized, each and every single one of them, and not deactivated. It is very depressing to see the drop in income, in subscribers, in views. It has significantly dropped. In a matter of 7 days, literally, I've lost 70% income. The subscriber change, I used to get about 17,000 subscribers per month. That's dropped all the way down to 6,000 subscribers per month. The watch time in minutes, I used to get like 25 million. Now it's down to 9 million. So it's some major changes happening that's affecting this channel, and I was not prepared for this. I didn't know that this would happen. A lot of the money that I made, I spent, and it's very concerning at this point because there's a lot of expenses that I have. as far as the school, as far as my home, as far as my children. There's a lot of expenses. And without the support of the YouTube, it's going to be extremely challenging to meet these expenses. So what I have to do is I have to try to cut back. I have to simplify my life again and get rid of some things that are unnecessary within my life in order to make things work. I also have to put in a lot of energy to try to get more people involved in joining the school. I have to put a lot of energy into retaining students. But the thing is, when you get a taste of this type of success, it's extremely difficult to go backwards. It really is. I mean, imagine putting yourself in this situation. Imagine if you're making $50 an hour, and you've been making $50 an hour for a year, and then now all of a sudden you got to go back to making $10 an hour. That's exactly what's going on. Because if I just put it to $100 an hour you're making, and all of a sudden now you go back to $20 an hour, that's an 80% drop. You know, so $50 an hour down to $10 an hour, that's an 80% drop in income. So when you're making $50 an hour, typically, and you're making it for a year, you think, oh, this is going to go on, so you end up buying a home, buying a car, and then everything is being, you've obtained loans to pay for these items. And then all of a sudden you just drop down to $10 an hour. You can't afford this home anymore. You can't afford this car anymore. You got to get rid of them. So now you don't have the home, now you don't got the car, and then you're making $10 an hour, and you are only able to experience those, that home and that car for that time that you made that money. But now that you're not making any money anymore, that type of money anymore, you're back to where you started. And it's tough to deal with that. It really is. Now, if you making $10 an hour and you've been doing that for a year, you make $11 an hour, and then you make 12, and then you just hover around the 10. You're accustomed to just living in that manner. You're not buying big ticket items because you can't afford them. Your life, a curveball wasn't thrown to your life. You're basically living a life of which is predictable. But if the person that's making $10 an hour all of a sudden is making $2 an hour, well, $2 an hour is against the law. You can't even find a job where you can make $2 an hour because that's against the law to even pay somebody that type of money. So when you're experiencing these things, it's a tough thing to go through. Going backwards. And it's a challenge, it's a test to your spirit, it's a test to your meditation, it's a test to all that spiritual work that you've been working on for all these years, is a test to that. Now, there's some people, or a lot of people might never be able to even know how it feels because they never will be able to experience, certain luxuries. But once you do experience it, and then you try to go back, it's tough. And it's a tough situation from YouTube. It's not YouTube's fault. It's the FTC, it's the government that's putting the pressure on YouTube. YouTube would have continued to operate how it has been operating, but the government put pressure on YouTube. The government's laws. So YouTube is like, they have to follow the laws of the government, and then YouTube imposes their own rules. So YouTube's like, hey, if this video is too controversial, we will not monetize it. If this video is too violent, we're not going to monetize it. If this video is too shocking, we're not going to monetize it. If this video promotes firearms, we're not going to monetize it. If this video is harassing or bullying anybody, we're not going to monetize it. They have all these rules of videos of which you can't monetize. If this video has music in it that's copyrighted, you can't monetize it. It's like all these list of rules of all these videos that you cannot monetize. And then now on top of that, you can't even monetize videos that are directed towards children. So now what else is there left to monetize? Like, I don't mind creating adult content all the time. I don't mind making a video talking every single day. I don't mind making videos of me training every single day. But these videos are not generating enough views to even make any revenue. Like, I don't mind making how-to videos, how to do this, how to do that. I don't mind making tutorials, but these videos are not making enough revenue, or they're not getting enough views to even make any revenue. So you're left at creating content of which the audience wants. So if the audience wants videos that feature kids, then that's what you end up creating in order to make the money. But now they're saying you can't do that anymore. Okay, so you can't do this. All these other things you can't do either. And then you're left with content that people deem as not entertaining enough, and then you don't make any revenue. It's the same issues that go on in the entertainment industry outside of YouTube. It's like you have all these professional athletes, these football players, basketball players, baseball players, making an enormous amount of money, millions of dollars. But then you got the educators, the teachers, high school teachers, professors, junior high teachers. You got the teachers that barely make any money compared to these athletes. You got these athletes making $50 million a year, and then you got a teacher that's making $30,000 a year, if that. So $50 million compared to $30,000. You got the educator that's making $30,000 a year. You got the entertainer that's making $50 million a year. So you take it back into the context of the YouTube. There's a lot of educational videos out there on YouTube, directly pointed towards adults. But a lot of these videos barely have any views. I've learned a lot on YouTube. Recently I had to fix a leak in my tub. I learned it from YouTube. But you look at the views that they have, he barely has any views. He didn't even make any money off that video, but he spent all his time to show me and everybody else how to fix something. But he didn't make any money off that. And then you got all these videos designed for entertainment, pulling pranks or whatever the case may be, that have millions of views. They're making all this money while this person who's teaching something is not making any money. And it's just not fair. You know, I started this channel, I put in 9 years of hard work to create content to educate people. But I wasn't making much of any money at all. I don't know how to entertain people. I'm not that type of guy. But here I am scrounging around, barely having not even 50,000 subscribers, not even really making any money, maybe a couple $100 a month or something like that. For 9 years. I finally discover a way to entertain the audience with these children participating in these gung fu activities, and then the subscribers starts exploding, the money starts exploding. But then now the government steps in and says, hey, we got to put a stop to this. The algorithm in YouTube changes, and then now the money is just tumbling down. And it is very, very discouraging to go through that, especially without any forewarning. I mean, if YouTube was like, you know what, like, we are getting sued, and you know, they sent out a mass email to everybody, all the creators, and said, look, we're getting sued, and there's a high likelihood that your income is going to significantly decrease within the next year or 6 months or 4 months, then at least it puts us in the mind, okay, we better start saving our money properly to prepare for this. But this literally just happened out of nowhere. I was blindsided by this, with no preparation. And now it's like, you got to go back to the drawing board. And when it comes to creating these videos with the kids in it, honestly, it's not just the money. It's the memories. So even if I don't make any money from it, I still want to create it. Because for one, it's positive content. For two, there's things that you can learn in the videos. For three, it's showing the growth of my children. From when they're this small all the way up until they're taller than me. And just to be able to have that content and go back to that and watch that, it's beautiful memories. I'm still going to do what I'm doing, even if I don't make any money from it. But I'm telling you, without the YouTube revenue, it is extremely difficult to stay afloat operating a martial arts school. Because I have all the expenses of the school in itself, in addition to my home and in the home of my children. So even if I was making $10,000 a month, people say, oh, that's a lot of money. Well, it's not a lot of money if you put in consideration of all the people that I got to take care of. 5 children, myself, and my partner. That's 7 people. So you break down $10,000 to 7 people, that's about $1,200 per person every month. That's not a lot of money. It's not. Because you got a household of 7. If you got a household of just 1, it's just you, and you're making $10,000 a month, that's a lot of money. But if you got a household of 7 and you're making $10,000 a month, that's not a lot of money. So the challenge is to try to not just survive without YouTube, but try to grow without YouTube, without the income that YouTube provides or can provide. To try to grow as a martial arts school, it's extremely difficult. Yes, I've been in business for about 10 years, but if you are just making enough money to pay the bills and you're barely getting by and there's no future for anybody outside yourself in this school, it is not something to be proud about. You know, it's similar to making minimum wage up until your death, with nothing more than that. Yes, you know, you lived out your life, you worked your whole life, you found happiness within your lifestyle, but you still lived on minimum wage for your whole life. And you were not able to generate enough money to be able to enjoy certain luxuries that others get to enjoy before they pass away. I mean, I want the school to grow. I want to have more students and all that. I don't want to just live at the bare minimum for my whole life. I want to grow. You know, and I saw potential in YouTube, and I saw and I experienced that growth. But now it's getting back to reality of how, hey, you know, growth is never endless. There will be times of decline. Just like there are in businesses that become successful and then all of a sudden they're no longer successful. So it's going back to the drawing board and trying my hardest to make this school grow, to build income outside of YouTube and not be dependent on YouTube. But it's very difficult. It is extremely difficult. But that's pretty much what's going on. And if I knew that this was going to happen, that there'll be such a sharp decline and so drastically, so suddenly, I would have managed my money completely different than how I did. This came very unexpectedly. And without properly managing my money, but by being able to foresee something like this happening, it put me back in a position where it's like I'm back to square one. as if that period of time where that money was coming in, as if it didn't even happen. It's just faded into the memory, and then now it's just back to how it always has been before the success of YouTube. So you get a glimpse, you experience something amazing for about a year, and then now it's over. Back to the reality. It's like going on vacation for a year, and then you love the vacation so much, but then now you gotta come back, get back to work, get back to the grind. And then you're always thinking about that vacation. Like how you want to live like that every single day, not just for a year. And in some people's eyes, it's better to not go on that vacation, because that memory of it makes you want that. Makes you want something that you might not ever be able to have. And having that desire can create a lot of suffering in your life. And that's pretty much what Buddha talks about. Get rid of those desires. Rather than working your life away to try to obtain that $1 million home, just get rid of that desire to even want that $1 million home. Because all that work involved in trying to get it, it's not worth it. It's a different outlook. Not everybody is meant to be like a Tim Cook or a Steve Jobs or a Mark Zuckerberg, or who a CEO of some company that's making multi-millions and billions of dollars a year. Not everybody's meant for that. Majority of people are meant to just live at the poverty line of existence. Just making enough money to survive. And if you are at that level, the way that you think cannot be the same way that these other people think that have these opportunities. If you are born into a wealthy family, like you're a Trump or something, and then your first breath of air, you are a multi-millionaire baby. Not everybody has those opportunities. Jaden Smith, the son of Will Smith, by the time before he's even a teenager, he's in a blockbuster Hollywood movie. Not everybody is gonna have those type of opportunities. Jackie Chan's son starring in movies because his father's Jackie Chan. Not everybody's gonna have those opportunities. Brandon Lee having his son Brandon Lee being the son of Bruce Lee, being able to star in movies before his untimely death. Shannon Lee, the daughter of Bruce Lee, being able to manage a multi-million-dollar enterprise because of her father. Not everybody has those opportunities. Some of us are born into poverty. And to rise out of poverty, the likelihood of that happening is like winning the lottery, which is highly unlikely. And yes, you want to think positive, like everybody's saying, think positive. But there's a reality as well. the real struggles of life. But what am I thankful for? I'm thankful that, for my health. I could have, instead of going through this, I could have gotten cancer or something. I could have gotten involved in a major accident where it ended my life, or I lose a limb. Something could have happened to my child, something serious. I could have got shot. There's some horrible things that could happen out there. Being involved in an active shooting situation. I mean, these are all things that are minor compared to the things that can happen. I mean, I've already experienced the worst that you could experience from YouTube, where they eliminated my channel and told me that I can't come back for life. I've already experienced that. It can't get worse than that when it comes to YouTube. To get your channel eliminated and then say that you can't even come back for life, that was hard to deal with. But now it's like, hey, YouTube rewards you with all this money, and then now it comes crashing down. That sucks. But I'm thankful that I could still create videos to express myself, just as I am right now. I'm thankful that I can reach out to some people out there, and that I can create a video that educates somebody or inspires somebody or helps somebody, even though I might not make any money from the video, which isn't fair, because there's all these videos that aren't helping people that make a lot of money. As I stated with the whole situation with the plumbing videos, these people helped so much for me in that time, but they didn't make any money. It's not fair to them. I'm thankful to experience what I have with the YouTube and being able to be able to experience that growth. But I wish I would have made smarter decisions with that money than I did. So all I could do is learn from what happened, and if things go back up in the future, I gotta be smart with that income. Because in the end of the day, the most important thing to me is to keep this school going, to keep it running, keep the bills paid. And all the extra money that I do make, I need to save it for situations that can blindside you like this. So it's all about managing your lifestyle, lowering your expenses, actively seeking and looking for potential students, building strong relationships with the students that are currently training. As far as the YouTube is concerned, I've already uploaded about almost 15,000 videos, so I keep trying to figure out something that will appeal to the audience. But you run out of ideas. Like, why do people go on YouTube? I would say most people will go on there to be entertained, not to be educated. And it's the educators that don't really make much money. All the entertainers make all the money. Compare these artists that make this music and how much money they're making. Compare that to like a plumber or auto mechanic or a fitness trainer or a martial arts teacher. Okay, look at the most successful martial arts teacher and look at how many views he has, how many subscribers he has. Compare that to someone like Beyonce or something like that. I mean, out of all the martial art teachers out there on YouTube, how many are actually successful in making money? And then compare that to these musical artists. Eminem, Beyonce, Jay-Z, or whoever is popular right now, Drake. Look at all the money they're making, and then look at how much money the educators are making. So that's pretty much what it is. I am not really here to entertain. I'm here to educate. And unfortunately, people that are here to educate don't really make much money. As how this culture is with the entertainment industry. All these Hollywood actors and actresses making all this money, these professional athletes, and then look at the money that the educators are getting. You know, so I hope and I pray that things will turn around, things will get better. But at the same time, I'm not going to assume that it's going to get better, because that's not going to help me prepare for the worst. You know, I'm going to prepare for the income to continually come down to the point where it might not even be any more income at all coming from that source. And I got to figure out something else to make things work. But as I stated, even without the income, I still will create content, because I enjoy creating content. I enjoy the memories, and I like to mark my progress. I like to mark the progress of my children as well, and my students that appreciate that aspect. But for all the supporters that's been with me since the beginning, and the people that's just jumped on board, you know, I'm very thankful for all of you. And when I have that support, it's beyond the YouTube algorithm. It's not about the algorithm and whether or not they like your videos or not. The supporters are always there to click like, always there to provide the views, to give that purpose. So even if I have an audience of 100 and not 1 million, I'm still very thankful for that audience of 100. And that's definitely part of why I am motivated to continue to share, even without the money. So, thank you everyone for listening, and thank you for the support. And I just want to be honest and real with everybody and what's going on, and just documenting my approach to this challenge. And also just having a video out there that others can relate to that are going through this type of thing. Because clearly, obviously, I'm not the only one out there. There's a lot of people going through this. A lot of other creators. And I think it's important that we all support each other, and that we can in a way encourage YouTube or encourage the government to make some changes to make things fair. You know, because they're talking about protecting the kids, which, yes, children need to be protected, definitely. But if there's violent material out there, like for example these violent video games that are making all this money from advertisement, and then children get access to that, but then content that's created for children that aren't violent, that can't make money, it doesn't seem that this is fair. You know? Because in the end of the day, their objective is to protect the children. So who knows what the future will hold? I'll hope for the best. I've been here for about 10 years and got to this point, and I figure in another 10 years we'll see how far we come. But with this this blockage in this path, it seems like it's going to take a lot longer than we originally anticipated to get to that 1 million subscriber mark. And I'm going to have to reevaluate how I manage the whole business, putting this into consideration of what just happened, into properly approaching the situation in order to keep the school growing and continuing. But thank you, everybody. Take care.